Now please welcome once again Chancellor Bernie Patterson.
Thank you, Provost Summers. We are honored to have as our winter commencement speaker Dr. Carlos Castillo-Chávez, a 1976 alum of this university and a Distinguished Alumni Award winner. Carlos has taught at Arizona State University since 2004, is now a Regent Professor at ASU, as well as the Rector, or President, if you will, at Yachay University of Experimental Technical Research in Ecuador. During his 30 years in academia, he has mentored 46 PhD students, 25 postdoctoral students, and almost 500 undergraduates. He is among the top 225 mentors of PhD students in his field. He has co-authored a dozen books, textbooks, research monographs, and edited volumes, and more than 250 scholarly articles. Carlos has won 3 White House awards and multiple professional organization awards for mentorship and distinguished service, including the American Mathematical Society's Distinguished Public Service Award, a fellow in the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and the Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics. He was a member of the Board of Higher Education at the National Academy of Science and served on President Obama's committee for the National Merit of Science. Carlos earned his Bachelor of Science degree in Mathematics and Spanish from UW-Stevens Point and went on to earn his Master's and Doctorate of Mathematics from UW-Milwaukee and UW-Madison. UW-Stevens Point class of 2017, and guests, will you please help me welcome our commencement speaker, Dr. Carlos Castillo-Chávez.
Chancellor Bernie Patterson, Provost Greg Summers, Vice Chancellors Hendrickson, Thomas, Thompson, and Richards, members of the Wisconsin Board of Regents, alumni, faculty, staff, friends, and most especially winter class of 2017. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to visit this beautiful room. I witnessed with my daughter, Gabriela Castillo-Londoño, the preparations for this event. And so I want to thank those who have worked so hard to make this commencement possible. The planners, those who set up the gorgeous room, organized the processions, prepared the program, the musicians, the wonderful singer, sound engineers, in short, the staff that makes it possible to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates and the sacrifices made by the family and friends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank again, Chancellor Bernie Patterson for your kind words of introduction, but most, in particularly, my deep gratitude to the university leadership for giving me the distinct honor to return to my alma mater, the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, as the 2017 winter commencement speaker. Of course, I especially welcome the opportunity to congratulate the winter class of 2017, welcoming them into the community of graduate scholars. Welcome. Congratulations to the 2017 winter graduating class of proud pointers. I'm also a proud pointer. Congratulations to all your loved ones, parents, grandparents, friends, and partners who have supported you throughout this journey called life in the greatest nation in the world, the United States of America. I am old. In fact, I graduated the year that we celebrated the 200th anniversary of the birth of the always greatest nation in the world. I'm indeed member of the 1976 graduating class of proud pointers. And I want to tell you, how did I get there? How did I get here? I was able to graduate 40.5 years ago thanks to the support of the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin, the mentorship of the UW-Stevens Point faculty, the care and help of the staff of this amazing institution, and the timely and critical help of the then Chancellor of UW-Stevens Point, Lee Dreyfus. Let me explain this last point. It was probably around April of 1976 when I became worried about graduation. I had been desperately trying to get a loan to pay my finite bill, $450. Yeah, now that barely buys you a lunch. I just didn't have the money, and with my settling the bills, where there was no graduation. But I guess that was my lucky month. I was pondering in how to pay my bill when I happened to run into Chancellor Lee Dreyfus. He was hard to miss, as he always wore a red vest. I approached him. He had just returned from China, and soon he started telling me all about his visit to China. I walked with him into his office, and soon he was showing me how to write his name in Chinese symbols, characters. And then after a while, he wondered what I was doing there. Well, he took me to his office and said, "Do you need anything?" He asked. I said, "I am glad you asked that." Because I do need your help. And I immediately added, "I can't graduate unless I get a $450 loan, and the financial aid office has been unable to help me so far. In fact, I don't think they wanted to see me anymore." Instantly, he picked up the phone and talked to the financial aid office. I still remember his words. "Yes, it can be done. I am the chancellor. Write the needed letters, send them to me for revision, and I will get this young man his degree." And that was that. And so I am here 42 years and a half later, thanks to the kindness of a man who saw as part of his duties to help others. Thank you, Lee Dreyfus. Martin Luther King Jr. put it best when he observed that life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And Governor Lee Dreyfus, Chancellor Lee Dreyfus' actions gave me a future. I have never forgotten that. Education and public service have the potential to proliferate the effects of compassionate leadership as those shown by Governor Dreyfus. And UW-Stevens Point's model of mentorship and education, where access, excellence, and impact are the central components of its mission as a university, play a most critical role in the building of caring communities across the state of Wisconsin, the nation, and the world. I just visited the state $70 million plus investment on the new biology, chemistry, science building at this campus, which will open its doors in a few months. This new building goes hand in hand with Nelson Mandela's belief that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. These new investments enhance the quality of education that is given at UW-Stevens Point. It points to the existence of a leadership that is always trying to strengthen the education that our kids receive at this university. The defining aspirations and mission of the United States of America depend on our ability to deliver on the promises of a democracy. And when I hear that 48% of the graduating class are first-generation college, it means that our country is still the greatest country in the world. UW-Stevens Point and the state of Wisconsin, through its investments and commitments, have put the promise of our democracy within the reach of all its graduating class since the first graduation in 1895, and that is remarkable. I went to college at UW-Stevens Point because its policies of access, excellence, and impact. UW-Stevens Point welcomed me at the time when I was working on a cheese factory in northern Wisconsin. I was an average student at best, and yes, they said, "Come." That is called access. The personalized, extraordinary, affordable education that I received at the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, has made it possible for me to succeed like I never imagined in a highly competitive world, and that is called excellence. My experience here, whether it was working, washing dishes at the dining hall, helping students at the language lab, or working for Upward Bound, gave me the discipline and understanding needed to grasp the importance of giving back to the people of the greatest country in the world, and that is called impact. Access, excellence, and impact, the driving forces of Arizona State University, my home institution, were part of my life here over 4 decades ago. My life did change when I walked into this campus, first driving 100 miles per day back and forth from Merrill, Wisconsin for a semester before I became smarter and moved to Stevens Point in 1975. Here, I learned about my own culture. Really, I learned about my culture. In fact, I did learn about my roots in Latin America thanks to faculty in the language department with Professor Roberto Azardo and Melvin Bloom playing a critical role in my education. I also improved my writing and understanding of English, I'm getting there, thanks to the support of the Tutoring Learning Center. I was here at Stevens Point. I was encouraged to think about becoming a mathematician by the math professors of the time, a group that included Howard Thor. It has indeed been a privilege to be a student and alumnus here, and I believe that you will agree with me, it has been a privilege to all of you graduating today to be students here. And so my question to you is, what are you going to do with this privilege? What are you going to do with this privilege? This is something that you have to think about because it is a privilege to be in this institution. Carol Dweck, a Stanford psychology professor, said that when children are praised for the process they engage in, they become better learners. Her research-driven advice on children's learning is worth exploring in the context of the dynamics of our own life as changing, growing, and complex adapting individuals. Her research shows that a world where fixed mindsets are the norm is not acceptable. Mindsets can be changed. Carol Dweck adds, a growth mindset can be taught, and when it is, people can become more motivated, more resilient, and more successful. And so, graduating winter class of 2017, it is imperative that you keep on learning. Your education does not end with a commencement or a degree in hand. It is just the beginning. Carol Dweck observes that the research by Angela Duckworth and her colleagues at the University of Pennsylvania has shown that a growth mindset fosters grit and the ability to stick to the things that we want to do. There were studies where the students didn't differ in preparation or ability, but those that show grit, right, they did significantly better than those that didn't on their grades. You must keep on growing your mindset, always learning as your education does not end with commencement and a degree in hand. Learning will add to your mindset grit, which is essential for success in a global economy. Further, remember the landmark work of Swedish psychologist Anders Ericsson has demonstrated that any existing talent is fed by passion and dedication. He adds that it takes 10,000 hours of practice to become an expert in an area. But it is not just fiddling around in the area. It takes deliberate practice, which involves focusing on the things you don't do well, yet and expanding on the things you already do well. It involves continually doing hard things and sticking to them. Here, you have been taught the value of discipline, hard work, passion, and dedication. And so you have learned well that your education does not end here. It is just the beginning. Don't forget that. We must live with adversity in our lives. In August of 2011, I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. The PSA levels were normal, The exam was conducted by an experienced caring professional nurse at the Mayo Clinic in Arizona, and she had the suspicion that there was an anomaly. The exam raised doubts in her mind, and a biopsy was ordered. The same exam was carried out later in Boston, and they could not figure out how this woman found out that anomaly. The medical doctors insisted that I had to undergo treatment and surgery immediately, and after a second and third opinion, I proceeded with surgery and treatment, spending over a year in Boston. What were my thoughts at that moment? I worried about the future of my family. I worried, has my life been useful? Have I helped others? Have I done something for my community? Have I given back? So class of 2017, I ask you, how will you be using your education to better your communities? After I was invited to give this address, I began to wonder what type of commencement speech would inspire young people like my daughter sitting here. Just started college. And so I was prepared, as I prepared this speech, I rapidly came to the conclusion that whatever advice I may give to you, it must come from my own experience, personal life, my heart, and my role as a university professor for over 3 decades. Over the past year and a half, I have spent most of my time in Colombia and Ecuador, missing Mexican and American food, tortillas, salsa, I died to have salsa there, burritos, hamburgers, all the stuff that I'm not supposed to eat. I have thought harder about the aspirations and dreams of young people in these 2 wonderful countries, and noticed that dreams of the 4 undocumented students of Carl Hayden High School in Phoenix, Arizona, 4 undocumented students, Carl Hayden School in Arizona, are the same as those of the students in Latin America. These 4 students at Carl Hayden beat a cadre of universities, engineering schools, 4 high school students, including MIT. They participated in an aquatic robotic competition over a decade ago. There is a wonderful documentary called Underwater Dreams, and they beat students in the schools that they would have never, and they were never admitted. Their dreams and aspirations are not different than those students, young people that I have found in Ecuador or Colombia. They all want a world where violence against women ends, where poverty diminishes year after year, where efforts to preserve our planet are embedded into everything that we do, a world where we are not judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character, as noted by the late Martin Luther King Jr. Over 4 decades ago, I was welcomed in Wisconsin by everybody. A foreigner born and raised in Mexico was welcomed with curiosity and open arms in this part of the world. What were my experiences? I was never left alone on Thanksgiving dinner. I was always welcome. The faculty praised my work, even when it wasn't that good, and encouraged me to reach for the stars. With my fellow students, we spent time together studying, playing at the square, or was partying, I don't remember, rooting at the football games for our pointers, the famous aerial circus at that time. I visited farms, learned what true grit and discipline means. Children getting up to milk 7 days a week at 5 a.m., milking twice a day, planting during the summer. I learned about trust, farms on lock, car parks with their keys on the engine. Farmers putting the crops and vegetables for sale with no attendance. You paid and took your own change. That was the Wisconsin that I was introduced to. My 9 years here at 3 universities were full of happiness, hard work, and more. I was introduced to a world that I didn't know it existed, a world that welcomed me as one of their own. There were, at that time on the campus, only 2 Latinos, Joe Vega and myself. My mindset grew, and my love for this country, Wisconsin, and yes, the Green Bay Packers, grew and grew and grew. Yes, I love the Green Bay Packers. W.W. Stevens' point, thank you. You changed my life. gave me the tools, courage, and discipline to succeed. I have had a most wonderful life, and all started here. Winter class of 2017, you are among the luckiest people in this world. Living in a nation where liberty and the pursuit of happiness go hand in hand, a world where compassion and love for one another are the norm. So I will ask you to help on an important issue to me. Don't forget the dreamers, young individuals who were brought to our generous nation as children. These individuals, these dreamers, know no other nation but the greatest nation in the world. Let's embrace them, support them, and help them. It is the right thing to do. It is the Wisconsin way. Winter class of 2017, go and be happy and productive. Let's continue to make this a better world together. Let's continue to make this country the most inclusive, diverse, tolerant, and compassionate nation of the earth. Graduating class of 2017, long live UW Stevens Point, long live Wisconsin, and long live the United States of America. Go make a difference. Go Pointers. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Castillo-Chávez, for your wonderful message. And once again, welcome home. Glad you're here.